Project, cutting the tops off of a couple of bookcases, taking 20th century handyman bookcases and fitting them for a nice 18th century house. Storage compartment has held them since we brought them here. Now they're going to go into the library. I had to cut roughly 3 inches off to fit under the beams in the house. 7-foot ceilings don't exist in the 18th century.
I took videos, so. Was that yummy? Yeah, you did just eat that incredibly fast, pup.
Good girl, Molly. Ellie, leave
Ellie,
Molly.
you had your fill.
The calves, known only as Ganymede and Tethys.
One thing I didn't consider when building this shipping container barn megaplex is the flies collecting in it. Holy cats, there's thousands of them everywhere. They like the heat at night. I can't wait till we get a freeze, actually, to kill them off. Fortunately, they don't seem to be bothering the girls. They're doing quite well. In here, they did have a little bit of adjustment problem. They got addicted to grain, and I had to back way off. I mean, we just give them a little bit anyway, but that's all they were eating. So I've opened up a bale of hay to help firm them up. The pigs have actually settled into an uneasy accord here. They're not harassing the gate anymore. I'm feeding them outside, and that seems to have stopped red mamas attacking the gate constantly. So anyway, it's nice to be able to feed everybody at once without traveling all over the farm. I got to give them that. One of the detrimental aspects of haying or mowing, silaging such rough and crappy fields is damage to equipment. I noticed after that last field weeks ago that this bushing on the mower was loose. I'd seen it that morning and I tried to just kind of offhand pound it in, and I thought, well, maybe that was the way it was supposed to be. It wasn't. So it popped out. So I'm going to be mowing probably tomorrow, cutting my neighbor's hay. I got to get this fixed. Going to see if Gidget can help me move that bracket. I've tried a couple other ways with jacks and things, but I'm going to put the forks on and see if I can shove it into place and drive that bushing in where it needs to go. I just got to drive it in somehow without wrecking it. My initial thought had been to use the fork of an open end wrench to straddle the shaft and drive the bushing in, but I don't have a open end wrench big enough to fit that 1.25 inch shaft. I think I've got one somewhere, but I can't find it. Well, I've got the bushing driven in, at least I centered it. I haven't gotten it driven in as far as I thought it should go. I think it needs to go beyond the plate into the other plate, but there's something in the way and I can't see what it is because of how it's constructed. I don't really want to have to take off this top bolt and undo the hydraulic pipe and the 3-point attachment, because that starts to get into a bigger project than I have for today. And if I'm going to mow tomorrow, I think what I've done will last because the field is actually pretty smooth. So I'm going to give it a shot and see if what I've done is enough. And then if not, if it comes tomorrow, it won't be hard use. I will have to fix it properly and take everything apart. I just don't want to have to do that today because it is getting late. So it's not a good design, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, that is a benefit and a problem of this mower. It's cheap, it's robust, it's simple, but they lack a few features like greasable joints, and there's these bushings and things that I don't understand how they I understand how they put it together, and I understand how I can fix it if I want to take it all apart. I just don't want to do that. Not if I've got to mow tomorrow. So it would be the right thing to do. It just seems like it's time consuming. So I'm not gonna do it. I may try. Let's see what happens if I back off on the jack. Maybe I can drive that bushing some more. Out walking the dogs, and calves have come up to see and investigate the dogs. They've met each other before, but on either side of a fence. Where UPS was coming, so I had them on leash. So they don't kill the UPS driver. Come on. Anyway, yeah, the calves are immensely curious about the dogs. The dogs could kind of care less at this point. They just like, oh yeah, whatever. But the calves, this batch of calves is really curious. Now, Ellie's been around for 7 years now, so she's used to the whole program. Molly's still new, and we haven't, Ellie won't work with the cows. Molly seems like she wants to work with the cows. So we're just easing into that slowly. So what I'm clearing out is a bale that was green grass that I decided not to wrap, that was giving me difficulties, and by the time I dropped it off and started feeding it out to the very next day, it had gone completely moldy. So I couldn't feed it out. So that's been sitting there, and then just all the leavings of every day. Because my fields, a lot of my fields aren't improved, there's, you know, briars and saplings and all kinds of brushy stuff in there, and things the cows can't eat or won't eat. So every day I sweep that to the side. Plus, I think in the last week I found about 5 or 6 bales that have some form of black mold on them that's, it hasn't ruined the whole bale, but certainly I gotta pull that off. And the last few bales have had mud wrapped up in the bales, and that's no good because that causes the area around the silage to spoil. So the cows won't eat that. So that's all what I've just cleared out. Stuff the cows aren't eating, can't eat, that I don't want to feed them. And it just kind of built up there. At this point, I've fed out about 30 bales of silage over the course of the summer, and I normally would not have even begun feeding out even this week or next week. I would have them finishing up on grass, maybe a bale or 2 of silage at the rail just to give them something while they're in the barn. But last year we ended up feeding out quite a few bales. The year before we fed out a few bales for a week. This year has been the worst, where we, like I said, 30 bales have been fed out over the course of the summer. I got to figure out where I'm putting this bucket for the time being. I don't want it to be in my way, because I got a lot of stuff I got to move around here. I'll put the forks on, start moving pallets of firewood. I've got another bag down there I got to move. Just kind of get them out of my way. I've got more firewood to process in the next day or so if we get the weather. I've also got to go to the feed store, and we're going to get ready for this event on Sunday. So I've got a few more days to clean up. I just want to, that's what I'm going to do the rest of today. I want to get this stuff out of my way, whether I get back to working on what I'm working on or not today. I want to get some more field lines set up, and if I am separating out the heifers, I want to get them water down there so they don't have to come up the hill. You know, I'll have to check on them. Oh, can't hear the activator going. I'll still have to check on the heifers every day and make sure, like today, where Fern isn't where she should be. I don't know why that. Oh, I know why, because I've got this disconnected. So she's going to be the first to go. I am tired of having to put her back in every single time. Alright, well, we're going to get at least these 2 full bags and the other, and I've got that crate there I want to get out of here, but I got to move a bunch of stuff out of my way to move the crate out of the way. So, adjust the forks and go. I know these bags have, I found them really useful last year, and I know they have these straps on them for hooking with the forks. I just find it a lot easier when working by myself to have them on a pallet and just scoop up the pallet and move the whole thing at once. That is faster for me. It does mean I have to have a supply of pallets, so I'm about to go see where all the pallets are from last winter when I had them stacked in the same place. Let's see if I can, if I've got enough to finish out what I got without digging out more pallets from somewhere else. Now, I also need to clear this way back here. It's been horribly overgrown. I haven't been back here to work like I wanted to. I've got to get this area clear and get a heating system going for the winter. So that's going to be my next big project. Ooh, shit. Almost lost that bag of logs. Pretty sure there's a pallet here in the weeds I can dig out. nervous going in. Well, I've been a little nervous because I haven't been working on firewood. And really, I should have started months ago. But I do kind of know I've got all that slab wood we got to burn up, and that's ready to go right now, and just have to saw it up. And I knew that I had this wood, just it's dry and to split. And I know I have a couple of bags that I'd already worked on, so all of a sudden I got almost 3 cord, which is way better than I thought. I thought I barely had a cord, so that's good. But I do have to get after firewood. I don't know. We ended up using way more than I thought. Average year we use about 3 cord. Last year I had made 5 cord. Pretty sure we used 7. But the heating system was running incredibly inefficiently last year, so that was some of that. But I would like to have 5 cord going into this year again, if not 7, and hoping that we're going to put together a new, more efficient wood-fired heating system. I was hoping to get it started already, but it's we're waiting to close on the farm, so until that happens, which is in a week or 2, don't think I'm going to have any chance to be, just because all these events in October all of a sudden have kind of we weren't planning on them, but the added pressure of actually owning the farm, making sure our financial position is good, etc., and going into the winter, because we don't know what this year is going to bring. We want to make sure that we're earning as much money now as possible, and doing events and hosting things here at the farm so that we can earn money in case it's dead this winter, which is always a risk in a good year. Second bag coming out. I will say one problem with these bags is I don't have covered storage for them yet to keep them under cover in the winter. In a normal year, and I keep saying normal year, but we haven't had a normal year for a long time. In a normal winter, it gets cold, it may snow, but it remains cold and doesn't have a constant freeze-thaw cycle, and we rarely get rain. I mean, we always have a January thaw in Maine, or have my whole time here until lately, and so that January thaw, you can expect a little bit of melting and some sunny, nice, warm weather above freezing, but then it gets cold again and stays cold, and snow, and no rain until springtime. And all that time, when it's cold and snowy, these bags work great. They keep the snow off the firewood, keep it dry, keep it protected, and help it continue to dry out in the freezing weather. But since we haven't been getting as deep a freeze and are having wetter winters with more rain than not, that's become a problem, and these bags aren't as effective then. So I'm hoping this year, in my new circumstance, where I'm stacking these bags out here now, it's already cured, dried wood. I've just finished splitting it and putting it in the bags. Some of it's been in bags for a while. And the crates are worse than the bags because they can get wet. But I gotta dig out a couple pallets here. In my new plan here, which we'll share soon, for the heating system, let's get that pallet. I can't see it because of the weeds. In the new heating system, there will be space to put the bags one at a time, or maybe even two at a time, to warm up and dry out a bit if they get rain wet. And also the putting putting cold wood in a gasification boiler reduces the efficiency of the boiler, makes it inefficient, because it's got to heat that wood back up. So frozen wood or wood from outside just kind of slows things down and makes things not as efficient. So having the wood pre-warmed, as it were, definitely helps keep things a little bit nicer. Makes things more efficient. Just and you're not you're getting the most out of the wood. You're not having to dry out moisture with the heat from the fire. Just works better all the way around. All right, let's see if I can get this bag on a pallet and get it stashed back there. I'm gonna have to try and pick up the straps. Almost made it. Desperately searching for a better solution for that wood log splitter. It was never a robust unit. The frame that attached to the 3-point hitch and the legs it was meant to stand on kept falling apart every time I tried to use it. So I modified it one time and that didn't work. So now I've just been making do by either putting it in a bucket or using the forks, but it's so heavy and so tippy. It needs some kind of frame put on it that I just don't have the time, materials, and possibly the skills to manufacture. And it's just not a priority, so I fight with it all the time. Alright, so I think this is the last of the logs I'm moving, the firewood, and we'll get this stowed back here, and then I can open up the lane and let the cows up to the barn and get a drink and stuff. This at least gets all this firewood closer to where it needs to be and gets it out of my way where it's been everywhere else. Now, whether I'm putting it in my way for later on, I don't know. We'll just have to see. All right, I'm gonna get this lane closed and get the cows up here. Ideally, I'm gonna set a corner post there and put a gate across here because this hot wire system does not work. The cows have been out 3-4 times this summer because they keep knocking this line down. So that needs a resolution that's more permanent. And with a gate here, I can box this off and get some kind of permanent fencing in here. I just got to clean up this area. I think I finally have an idea of what has to happen here. And I want to come off that corner post relatively perpendicular up through this brush and then over to there and then come across with a double gate system. And then another improvement I'm hoping to get done, once this manure is out of here and spread, I want to, rather than have a hot wire here, I want to have a series of gates. Maybe come up, I don't know, because this is a good storage area, I think what needs to happen is off of this corner post here, go out along the berm with a fence. I still need to come out, here's the post, I want to come out to the post or beyond with this hillside fill, and then put a fence straight across there, and then gates up to the corner there, the block work, and then this could be a yard for the cows, in addition to stacking manure, in addition to stacking bales. It can just become better storage, but also have a way to keep the cows out of it better, because currently, oh yeah, and I get rid of that old chicken coop right back there, off the corner of this block work back there, have a gate there, and then like I said, this could become a useful yard or a place to pile manure or store bales or all of the above. We need a better, I wasn't ever planning on having a manure midden up here, but someone suggested that as a possibility, and so I sort of have gone with it, obviously stacking manure here. It isn't ideal right now. It would need to be concreted to be good and useful that way. I did have bales stored there last year, all the bales all the way out to here, but because the manure's been there this summer, and I haven't got any spread, I don't have that set up yet. And so I've been putting it elsewhere. I still have 60 bales to cart home from Thomaston. I've got the 80 bales we're buying in that I'm gonna stack out front there. I've burned up 30 bales, and I've got another 45 or 50 out front. So I'm gonna stack some bales that I'm buying and some that I'm making back in this far corner, because I don't anticipate needing them until the spring. But and there may be more room as I may move some bales out from out front once if not once, if I can clear this manure out of here. Yeah, it all depends on if I can get the right manure spreader and the access to a manure spreader. All right, let's see. Fern's looking like she wants to get out of where she's at. I gotta get these cows up here. I don't see the heifers. So all right, they're out where I want them. Who do I have? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had 9 cows in the lane, and now I only have 8. I was hoping to only let up the milk cows. All right, well, we'll get the lane open so everybody can get up here. I gotta run errands, and maybe afterwards I can set up their water down there for the heifers, and then start a program of keeping them down here and keeping the cows up in the yard. That'll alleviate some of the strain up here and give the heifers some better nutrition.